James, Wally of the Week.
Oh, yeah,
Not
well,
you. I mean,
no,
obviously. I mean, your nomination for.
I'm not eligible. I work for the station. But no, we spoke so much this week or this Sunday about the events of the Ballarat Bush Summit, but there was another Bush Summit, the New South Wales Bush Summit in Wagga Wagga. Yeah, and it was a great event hosted by the Daily Telegraph and Hancock and everybody else. But Chris O'Keefe, who used to be, for people in Sydney, 2GB Drive host, he's fetched up now as the national spokesman for the Clean Energy Council. He had a debate with Barnaby Joyce over net zero, and it didn't go too well for the man. Have a look.
Interesting.
So I want to tell you how well we're going. These are the places that are dearer, that are cheaper than us in power. Australia at 0.24. Uruguay, El Salvador, Luxembourg, Greece, Honduras, Spain.
Yes. We need gas, but gas is extraordinarily expensive. It's really expensive. Gas-fired electricity.
You're talking about gas backup for your intermittents.
Yeah, of course. But gas, what the idea is,
saying something
you want to use as much of the cheap stuff as possible.
Has to back up my truck that goes very well when it's coasting down hills.
Now, for about 10 minutes there, Barnaby Joyce just belted the poor guy, and the audience was having none of it. We didn't get all the sort of the crowd reaction and boos into it. But no, this guy, Chris O'Keefe, I think he's got to be the Wally of the Week. So the bravest Wally for even going up and standing up before that audience to be schooled and learn a thing or two about clean energy from Barnaby Joyce.
But at least he is, he's fulfilling a role. He's the spokesperson for this body. He's getting paid to say a particular line. But Jacinta Allan and the Prime Minister, as we opened the program, they got booed out of Ballarat at the Bush Summit. They were actually chased out of there. So they've got to be joint nominations as well for this week's Wally of the Week.
Absolutely. We've also got Paul Scar.
Paul Scar. And I don't know if we've got the vision of it, but let's have a look at this here on the Senate floor.
This pamphlet and what is stated on it is causing great distress to Australians of Indian heritage. It is causing great distress and concern to Australians of Indian heritage.
Now, what he's referring to there was a pamphlet that was going around and circulated around these marches that are supposed to be happening today, which pointed out that it claimed that in the last 5 years, more people from India had come to Australia than Greeks and Italians had come, I think, since the end of the war. But the point is about, this mass numbers, but...
Is that all it said, or was it in any way racist, or was it just
There was just that point is the one that has been going around. I don't know what the rest of the pamphlet said, and if it said something, more derogatory, obviously you condemn that. But to get weepy on the Senate floor over this...
Bizarre.
It's bizarre, and he got ratioed so hard on his Twitter post that he's actually protected his tweets.
Oh, dear. So we've got a shadow minister who is now... protecting his tweets, essentially going private on the biggest social media platform because he's too scared of what constituents telling him what he thinks.
He's got a lot of people saying, what are you doing here? This is ridiculous. And you have, again, the failure of the coalition to grasp the nature of the issue and to be able to make an intelligent, nuanced statement about migration and numbers being too high, not migrants being bad. And this is the thing. They get so terrified of being tarred with the neo-Nazi xenophobic brush that they can't actually do what people are asking, which is just simply turn it down.
It's not 2015 anymore. We've moved on from the days when anybody cares about those false accusations of racism and bigotry. Everyone's awake to that nonsense. And you look at the US, you've got many migrants, in fact, the majority of a certain number of migrant groups that back the deportation program. So this notion that if you're a migrant to a country, you're for open borders and no limits on migration is entirely false.
And as James said, if that was all, if there was worse on the pamphlet, then that's to be condemned for what it was, but we don't know about that. But you're right, James, we have to be able to have these sorts of discussions about immigration without...
And national character...
And there would have been just as many Indians who would have read, if that was all that was on the pamphlet, and said, yeah, I agree, absolutely.
Well, if you
can't lump everyone together and say, there are all these Indians who think this way and all this who think this way. That's the whole point of a free society, that everyone should have their own opinion.
If the coalition wants to win over those voters who are voting Labor, 85% we're told by a Labor pollster, then they've got to actually do the work. You can't just do some teary, cringe speech.
Exactly.
You've got to actually look at what they care about. These people are socially conservative. They're very much ambitious and want to build wealth. Appeal to that as opposed to
they hate the trans agenda.
They should be natural liberals.
They want small
business. They should be natural liberals.
Of course, they should be.
Absolutely.